In the city of Kyiv, Ukraine, resides Yuri Boyka, a skilled MMA fighter renowned as the top fighter in Europe, holding the prestigious title of undisputed champion. One night, Boyka engages in an illicit fight within an underground arena, where the audience cheers him on as he effortlessly dominates his opponent, landing every blow without taking a single hit himself. With a swift mid-air kick, Boyka swiftly knocks out his adversary. The scene then shifts to a high-security prison located in Russia, where inmates engage in fights arranged for the entertainment of the guards and the prison warden. While these fights may appear harmless to outsiders, they can turn brutal when involving certain participants. Among the inmates, Koshmar stands out as the most dangerous, known for his ferocity and aggression. To prevent him from causing harm outside the ring, the guards resort to chaining his limbs and gagging him during matches. Koshmar faces an opponent significantly smaller than him, struggling to land any effective punches. With brutal force, Koshmar slams the man to the ground, breaking his neck, and proceeds to deliver relentless face punches. The fight concludes only when the opponent's face is disfigured and drenched in blood. Koshmar is notorious for mercilessly killing every adversary he faces, embodying a monstrous demeanor without a trace of remorse. In contrast, Boyka, outside the ring, is portrayed as a decent individual. Despite a challenging life, including imprisonment and being a wanted criminal in Russia, he endeavors to leave his past behind and strives to become a better person. Engaging in charitable activities, such as assisting a church in Kyiv, Boyka demonstrates his commitment to goodness. However, his world takes a surprising turn when a priest, who has always supported Boyka's passion, suggests that he contemplate pursuing a different profession. Boyka asserts that his exceptional skill is a divine gift, expressing an unwillingness to cease utilizing it. His aspiration is to engage in professional fights rather than participating in illegal settings. Later in the day, Boyka is informed by his manager that he now has the opportunity to compete legitimately in sanctioned MMA matches. The European Fighting Tournament in Budapest offers him a chance to enter the competition, conditional on winning a qualifying match. The day of the qualification match arrives, and Boyka, recognizing its significance, prepares to give his best effort. His adversary, Viktor, a Russian man, becomes his opponent. As the match commences, Boyka executes the first impactful kick. Displaying adept defensive skills in the initial minutes, he adeptly deflects every attack aimed at him. Viktor's growing frustration provides Boyka with an opening to launch counterattacks. The judges observing from the sidelines are already impressed by Boyka's performance, and when he knocks Viktor out with a knee to his jaw, it confirms his qualification. Although everyone assumes the match is over, Viktor surprises them by getting back up. Despite being knocked down a second time seconds later, he adamantly refuses to accept defeat. At this point, Boyka is frustrated, so he delivers a third punch to Viktor's face, rendering him senseless. Following his victory, the organizers extend an invitation to Boyka to compete in Budapest's league, which promises numerous opportunities for him. Boyka's manager hands him a bundle of money, urging him to train rigorously as the next match is in 2 weeks. While leaving, Boyka notices that Viktor is in critical condition. He feels remorseful for causing him such harm and acknowledges that he wouldn't have inflicted it if Viktor had surrendered after the initial knockout. Recalling the advice given by the priest, Boyka offers a prayer for Viktor's swift recovery. During the night, he awakens from a nightmare where he's seen killing an opponent in the ring. The very next morning, he approaches the manager and asks about Viktor. To his astonishment, he learns that Viktor passed away in the hospital the previous night. Since they had signed a pre-match contract, no one is held accountable. However, deep down, Boyka acknowledges that he's responsible for Viktor's death. When inquired about Viktor's family, the manager hands him a bag that belonged to Viktor. Inside, Boyka discovers a letter from Viktor's wife along with her photo. As he reads the letter, he empathizes with the pain Viktor's wife must have experienced upon learning about his demise. In that moment, Boyka resolves to apologize to her and ensure she isn't facing any difficulties in life. He understands that even with this gesture, his wrongdoing won't be pardoned, but he is determined not to evade the path of redemption. Boyka expresses his desire to visit Viktor's wife in Russia to the manager, but the manager strongly opposes the idea. Boyka is aware that he's considered a criminal in Russia and risks imprisonment if caught by the authorities. Creating a fake passport poses a significant risk, especially now that he's on the verge of becoming a legitimate MMA fighter. Despite understanding the potential consequences, Boyka remains steadfast in his decision. In the subsequent scene, we meet Viktor's wife, Alma, attending his funeral. Following his demise, Alma finds herself alone with no support. Additionally, she and Viktor owe a debt to a crime boss named Zurab. Zurab attends the funeral and proposes that Alma become his mistress to settle the debt. While repulsed by his offer, Alma handles the situation carefully to avoid angering him. She simply responds that she prefers to work hard and pay off the debt in installments. Alma owns and resides in a community center, which she and Victor constructed using money borrowed from Zurab. The place serves as a shelter for numerous orphans and individuals facing hardships. Upon his arrival in Russia, Boyka intends to meet Alma but observes her being taken away in a black car by a group of men. It becomes evident that she works as a waitress at Zurab's underground fighting club, where Zurab exerts possessive control over her. Later that day, Boyka visits the fight club and locates Alma. When he attempts to speak with her, Zurab's associates intervene and escort him outside. Preferring to avoid a physical altercation, Boyka politely inquires about Alma's work hours. However, the gangsters attack him in response, only to be swiftly defeated by Boyka, who demonstrates his skills as a professional fighter. Impressed by Boyka's prowess, Zurab expresses interest in recruiting him for his club, recognizing the need for a skilled martial artist. Despite Zurab's offer, Boyka clarifies that his intention is solely to meet Alma and not to participate in fights. Zurab suggests talking to Alma on Boyka's behalf, declining to allow Boyka to meet her, but Boyka disagrees once again and leaves. Once Boyka is out of sight, Zurab instructs his associates to keep an eye on him. The next day, Boyka manages to sneak into the community center and meets Alma. He hands her Victor's letter and inquires if she is compelled to work at the fight club. Alma expresses her desire to work elsewhere but acknowledges being bound by the debt. Reading the letter, she questions if Boyka witnessed her husband's final fight. Boyka confesses that he was Victor's last opponent, emphasizing that his death was unintentional. However, Alma refuses to listen to the man responsible for her husband's demise. Afterward, Boyka approaches Zurab and agrees to fight for him. In exchange, Zurab must forgive all of Alma's debts. The terms stipulate that Boyka must win 3 matches against opponents chosen by Zurab. The gangster also assures him of protection from law enforcement as he is aware of Boyka's use of a fake passport to enter Russia. The following day, Alma meets Boyka to convey that she does not want his sympathy. Despite her insistence for him to leave, Boyka persists, stating that he is pursuing this for personal gratification. Subsequently, he heads to a nearby gym to prepare for the matches but encounters harassment from a man. When the man persists, Boyka swiftly subdues him with a single kick. Then arrives the day of the initial fight. Boyka faces a local fighter in a seemingly straightforward match. While the opponent manages a few feeble kicks, he proves to be no match for Boyka's skill. Boyka knocks him down and refrains from delivering the final blow. Fortunately, the opponent concedes defeat, sparing Boyka from further harm. Following the match, Alma serves him drink. Boyka inquires if Alma knows of any decent local gym as the current one he plans to visit doesn't meet his standards. After pondering for a bit, Alma suggests he utilize the gym located in her community center. He trains there for the following days, and eventually, Alma becomes accustomed to his presence. In Boyka's upcoming match, he unexpectedly finds himself facing 2 opponents, a pair of brothers, which catches him off guard as he was never briefed on this rule. Zurab asserts his dominance, claiming that it's his arena, and the fighters must adhere to the rules. As the match commences, Boyka struggles to fend off both brothers simultaneously. Each time he attempts to engage with one, the other strikes, making it challenging for Boyka to concentrate. Despite the odds, he manages to repel one brother and knock the other down during the brief intervals they take to recover. The bout remains evenly matched until Boyka receives a kick to his already injured lower back. Enduring excruciating pain, he catches sight of Alma in the audience, which motivates him to persevere and continue fighting. Following that, he defeats both opponents decisively, resulting in a double knockout. The audience erupts in cheers, surprised by his victory in this challenging match. The following day, Zurab approaches Alma and attempts to flirt with her. When she rebuffs his advances, he accuses her of having relations with Boyka. Furthermore, he provokes her by suggesting that her husband's demise was not accidental, insinuating that Boyka intended to kill him. Although Alma pretends not to believe him, his words deeply trouble her. Meanwhile, Boyka receives an urgent call from his manager in Ukraine, summoning him back for a press conference regarding the upcoming fight in Budapest. Boyka requests a postponement, explaining that he only has one final match to win. Upon returning to his room, he finds Alma waiting for him. She implores him to reveal the truth about her husband's death, prompting Boyka to recount the hardships he has endured throughout his life. He shares that the first part of his life was full of suffering, and the match against Victor represented his sole opportunity for a better future. Despite giving his all and emerging victorious, Victor's death took a significant toll on him. He acknowledges that it's challenging for Alma to accept his assistance, but he pleads with her to allow him to do what is necessary. During the final match that night, Boyka faces Igor, Zurab's top fighter who had been ridiculing Boyka since his arrival. Igor is particularly enraged because Boyka threatens his standing within the gang. He unleashes a barrage of attacks, targeting Boyka's lower back relentlessly. However, the tide of the battle turns when Boyka lands a double mid-air kick on him. Subsequently, he overwhelms Igor, causing him to bleed profusely until he loses consciousness. With this victory, Boyka emerges as the champion of the entire tournament, and Alma's debt is settled. However, Zurab had anticipated the outcome and made arrangements for it. He intercepts Boyka and discloses that Boyka must face one final opponent to fulfill their agreement. Boyka is left with only a few hours before his crucial meeting in Budapest, essential for his career. Despite this, he refuses to leave without rescuing Alma. Therefore, he requests the manager to postpone the meeting until the next morning and prepares to confront the ultimate champion. The opponent turns out to be Koshmar, a formidable adversary who has vanquished and even killed all his previous opponents in the Russian prison. Due to his violent tendencies, he is escorted into the arena in restraints. As the fight commences, Boyka finds himself already fatigued. Despite exerting his best efforts, his attacks seem ineffective against Koshmar's formidable physique. The beast relentlessly lands several punches on Boyka before delivering a devastating kick to his jaw. Due to the impact, Boyka tumbles down and struggles to rise to his feet. Just as he's on the brink of losing the fight, he summons his remaining strength and stands up, only to be forcefully knocked down again. When Koshmar is almost certain of victory, Boyka surprises him with a sudden kick, shifting the momentum of the fight. Seizing an opportunity, Boyka locks the beast in an arm hold, snapping his right arm before hurling him out of the ring. This decisive move secures Boyka's victory, but Zurab remains unwilling to release Alma. He orchestrates an assault by his henchmen while attempting to flee with the girl. With Alma being dragged away, Boyka, fueled by determination and rage, engages the guards in a fierce confrontation, eliminating them all. Finally, he confronts Zurab and wrestles him to the ground, despite sustaining a gunshot wound in the process. Despite the pain, Boyka's fury eclipses everything else. Eventually, Boyka ends Zurab's life by strangling him. Alma attempts to assist Boyka, but he halts her, questioning whether he has her forgiveness. Later, law enforcement officers arrive and apprehend him. Prior to being taken away, he once again seeks Alma's forgiveness, but she remains silent. Subsequently, Boyka is returned to a Russian penitentiary. After a month, Alma visits him and grants him forgiveness. Boyka experiences relief for the first time in months, despite his aspiration to become a professional fighter being thwarted. In the closing scene, he is depicted fighting in the prison arena, retaining the title of Undisputed. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell if you want to watch more videos like this. Thank you for watching and see you again soon. Take care.